Hello everyone! Today I want to share some tricks I use to get my builds just right in Sims 4. This is not a design tips video, this is more of a technical tips video to get around some of the limitations when building in Sims 4. These 4 tips I'm going to present may be common knowledge for people who are a bit more experienced in building in Sims 4, but they're still super useful and I use them in pretty much every time I build. This first tip is really useful when you're trying to place things a little more precisely. So normally when you place items, you'll see that they kind of snap in place. They space out kind of however they want, and you can't get it quite precise. You're able to override this like grid snapping by pressing and holding the Alt key, and you can then free move items. There are some exceptions to this, but for the most part, it works. So if you want to get things really close to each other, or a very specific distance apart, you'll click and hold the Alt key. And then when you let go of it, it just goes back to snapping in place. The second trick that I use pretty much every time I build is resizing objects. So in Sims 4, there's a lot less built-in content, like base game content, than in previous versions, and it can feel really limiting unless you want to spend a bunch of money buying all the packs. But when you can resize objects, it feels like you get more content just by being able to dual purpose things. So the way you do this is by using the bracket keys on your keyboard. So mine are up by the P button. The left bracket downsizes, the right button upsizes. And you'll see that you can get things pretty massive. Pretty massive. There are limits, but I mean, I don't think you're going to need it. I don't think you're going to bump up against those limits. But yeah, really, really big, really small. The third trick that I use every single time I play is the MoveObjects cheat. So you'll know if you've played previous versions or been playing for a little while, you can enter cheats into a command prompt and open up some more options. How you open the command prompt is by clicking Control-Shift-C together on your keyboard, and it'll pop up this little bar right here. And there are a whole slew of cheats you can enter. You can Google Sims 4 cheats, but right now I'm going to show you how to do MoveObjects on. So you'll do bb.moveObjects on, and then you'll hit Control-Shift-C to close out your prompt or your command prompt. And this will allow you to overlap items, which is really important to me to be able to build kind of like cozy cluttered places or to make things just right. If you don't want this, however, there are some instances where you might not want this. I very seldomly, but do sometimes turn this off. So you'll go ahead and open your command prompt again by clicking Control-Shift-C together, and you'll type in bb.moveObjects off. And then you'll close your prompt, Control-Shift-C, and then you'll go back to the regular, like, can intercept objects, which can be helpful in some scenarios. So the other part of MoveObjects that's really useful is being able to move objects up and down. So you'll use the parentheses keys, the 9 and 0 keys, to move objects up and down. So yeah, just play around with it. This is really useful for when you're trying to very precisely place decorative items. So if you're like, man, I really want this to be at the bottom of my pond, but it doesn't, or at the top of my pond, and it doesn't automatically go there, you can just bloop, up, down, all around. So I use this a lot with decorative objects, or when I'm trying to create something that's for a visual effect, because this can interfere with how the Sims interact with it. So use with discretion. But yeah. So this next tip is one that I use not every time I build, but I use it when I'm building community lots and when I want to build something really unique or fill out my home to be more realistic with like a little more clutter. And it's called Show Hidden Objects. And what you'll do is you'll hit Control-Shift-C to open your command prompt. And you'll type in bb.show hidden objects. And you won't see anything happen right away. You may see these shift, but the way you'll know that you've done it right is you'll come to this little box and type in debug, and you'll see all of these pop up. So now you'll have access to a whole bunch of different items. If you've seen it on a community lot or pre-made builds or anywhere in the Sims world, and you're like, I don't have access to that, it'll be here. The only limitation is that if you haven't bought the pack, you won't get that hidden content. You will get access to the hidden content for the packs that you have bought, though. And there's a lot in here, so just explore. A lot of clutter. The other thing that you do get access to is items that you can craft throughout the game at various crafting stations or whatever. So take a look. There's a lot of content. These are super fun building pieces. But yeah, so that's it for this one. Again, you're probably not going to know what's there. Just stick around. Have fun with it. So now that you know how to do these things, I do want to put a warning and a reminder out there that anytime you use mods or cheats or move objects in a way that isn't automatic in the game, you do run the risk of running into glitches or issues with your game. The most common issues that I run into when using these tricks is that my Sims won't be able to engage with objects properly. This is usually due to pathing problems. They won't be able to properly get to the item because I've crowded them too close together. My advice with this is go back into build mode and slightly move the object, create more space between objects so that your Sims can get to them and use them properly, and they have the space to use them properly. If this becomes too overwhelming for you, you're always able to just go ahead and turn these cheats off and move objects in a way that is natural to the game, and you shouldn't have these issues. I know you'll still run into these kinds of issues sometimes, but so happy building. Have fun, and like, subscribe, and leave a comment on other things in the game that you would like to see me do. Okay, bye.